Have you had a wake up call like that? Have you had something that was like, oh, I gotta change something I'm doing, or like?
Yeah, but I've had I've had a wake up call, but I obviously still need to lose weight.
Right.
I don't move around as much as I have, but I had a huge wake up call. In 2009, I had a stroke.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it was, and I wasn't in I was in better shape then than I was now. And it was a kind of a confluence of different things. And one of them is that I had been working out of the country, and it was incredibly stressful family wise and everything. I had started, and I wasn't abusing it in any way, but I was using Adderall to write a script. And like I say, not abusing it, because there was maybe once or twice where I'm such a scatterbrain that I didn't remember I took it. So I ended up doubling up, and I felt so that I was like, I cannot understand how anyone could abuse this stuff, because this is just, I feel awful. But so I was taking amphetamines literally every day. And just I woke up one morning and was super dizzy, went to the bathroom, violently threw up, couldn't even get back to the bed, crawled back to the bed, and was, nowadays I look back and I'm like, I didn't call an ambulance. I was just like, I'm going to get back in bed. I couldn't walk. The room was spinning so bad. And
this is crazy. I know the feeling of just this will pass.
Right.
Probably.
I'm,
just gotta wait this out. Then I'll go to work a little late.
And but so I got back into bed, and I told my ex-wife, I'm like, I'm sick. And then around 9 o'clock, I got up and I woke up and I called my doctor, who was at a funeral, but I talked to his nurse, and she said, what's going on? I described it. She says, it sounds like labyrinthitis, which is an inner ear infection. And I said, okay. She said, do you have an ENT? And I was like, yeah, I do, because I have all kinds of sinus. So I call him, talk to him, same thing. He goes, yeah, it sounds like labyrinthitis. He goes, you could come down here. He goes, but there's not really anything I can do for you. You just kind of got to let it pass. This is on a Friday, and I went through the weekend, and slowly, just kind of stayed in bed and got better. Although I did host a fundraiser for my kid's school.
Mid-stroke?
Yes. The day after, the night after I had a stroke.
That's because the show must go on.
Yeah.
No. It's because my ex-wife was like, I was like, I can't do this. And she's like, you have to. We've already committed. I'm like, there's other people that could do this. She's like, we have to. I'm like, all right, fine. I was like, but if I do this, just let me sleep. Just let me be in bed. Don't, okay. So I and I was supposed to wander through the audience and pimp the silent auction things while people are eating dinner. It was like a black tie special year, I don't know, anniversary thing. But I just woke up, put on my tuxedo, got in my car, drove over to the Ebell Theater, sat in the auditorium on a chair waiting. They all filed in. I hosted the, auction, got back in my car, drove home. And that night was the first night that I actually ate something. I got home from there, and I sat down and I had a bowl of Cheerios, and the first spoon, I missed my mouth. I hit my cheek with the spoon. I was like, this labyrinthitis is really something.
Yeah.
Slept through Sunday. Monday morning, got up, drove my son to school. And as I was driving home, I had this feeling of when the registration slips in a film, the frame slips up. I was driving up Highland Avenue, and there's the palm trees, and I had that feeling. It looked like the registration flipped out. And I was like, I got to go, I'm calling the doctor. So I first go to the ENT in the afternoon. He can see me in the afternoon. I go in, he looks in my ears, and I could tell, he's like, yeah, this is not labyrinthitis. What's going on here? And he said, you should go see your regular doctor. So I went to my regular doctor. It was about 4 p.m. And I came in and he saw me walk. He was a really good doctor, but he's too far away, so I don't go there anymore. But I was walking towards him, and he went, "I want to get an MRI of your brain," because he saw just from seeing me walk.
Did you panic?
Not.
Are you already lightly panicking because of the last 48
no,
hours?
I don't get too anxious in situations like that. I'm like, I'm worried, but
Again,
it doesn't
Midwestern.
Yeah, it doesn't freak me out. I'm like, well, we'll see.
Right,
No sense in getting worried until we know what we're worried about.
Right.
So at 6 a.m., I went in and had an MRI, and about 9, got a call that I had a stroke, and my ex-wife was out in the garage, and I went out and I was like, "You have to take me to the hospital because I had a stroke." And because she had like guilted me into doing the charity thing, that was like 3 months of just goodwill, like like you fucking made me do a charity auction when I had a stroke. And she felt terrible.
Surprised the marriage didn't work out.
Oh, it was later. It was after.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It was,
Nothing was bubbling.
Yeah. It was after my brain cancer that I really. But she was crying, so we took me into the hospital.
What do they do for a stroke after the fact?
They run all kinds of tests.
Yeah.
I was in there for 2 days, just overnight, but 2 days. Every kind of test you could think of, and it was kind of, and I kept, because it was not intensive care, like a step below intensive care.
Yeah.
And people would come in to do a test, and they'd be like, "Wait." Because I'd be just like sitting up watching TV or looking at my phone, and they're like, wait, because everybody else has got tubes in their nose. Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I had a stroke Friday.
You had your tuxedo.
Yeah, and it's like,
whoa, who's this
it's
guy? Monday
afternoon. I'm like, I had a stroke Friday, and they're like, oh wow, okay.
At the Friars Club?
But after all of the tests, and they found nothing, and in fact, it was kind of like it had the benefit of like this. The cardiologist who ran all the tests, he said, your cardiovascular system is pristine. He said there isn't plaque anywhere.
Jeez.
He said, so we don't know what happened, but there was a blood vessel that just collapsed in your head, and it was in the motor area. So I still, for months afterwards, I had like I couldn't walk along like a little balance beam on a playground. But then after a year or so,
you had to change your whole stand-up act.
Absolutely.
How did you get to your bed?
A lot of rewriting.
Siegfried and Roy fired me.
Well, you were one of the Tigers.
You mauled them.